I should be like you, Melvin.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Well, good morning and welcome back to On the Sidelines with myself and, of course, my co-host, Paul. Paul, how you doing? Good to be with you as always.
Yeah, I'm great, Matt. It's we've had a beautiful day here today, about 18 degrees. It's gone down to 12 now, obviously because it's getting dark, but it's 5 o'clock at night. And how are you looking down your end, Matt, in the UK?
Yeah, it's at the minute it's lovely blue sky, but I have seen that apparently the weather's set to turn today. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but we all know what the weather's like. But yeah, at the moment, very, very nice. But
Right.
yeah, welcome to our FA Cup final special. Obviously, we know it's the FA Cup final today. Chelsea and Manchester City will battle it out for the trophy, which we will preview that little later on in the show. But to help us today do that, we've got a special guest with us. And for those of you that watch the channel on a regular basis, will definitely know this guy. He's been doing a lot of shows with Craig recently, called I think it's called The Problem with Football, if I remember rightly. But of course, that is the one and only Mani. How you doing, Mani?
Good evening, Matt. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Paul. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and greetings to everyone watching. I'm good. Looking forward to this. And the series is actually called Football Has a Problem. And the big problem is that, and another big problem today is that the FA Cup is being shown before the end of the Premier League season.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree. It should always be that last piece of the season, isn't it? At the end of the season, once all the fixtures are done. Totally agree with you on that one. Sort of takes the magic away a little bit, doesn't it? But let's quickly jump into the comments before we get started on some Cherries news. We'll actually spot the ball first, but let's jump into the comments and just say hello to everybody. So Julie, good morning. Hope you're well. Hi, we're all looking forward to the show. Thank you for joining us as always. And Vanessa, good morning. Looking forward to the show. So it looks like all the Watkins gang are in as normal, Paul.
Yep. That's good. Yep.
David DeCosta's with us. Hope you're feeling better, Dave, as well. Good morning, Matt and Paul and everyone in the chat from a beautiful sunny Melbourne. And our friend Malcolm from Berlin. Here he is. Good morning. Good morning, Matt, Paul, and all the Cherries fans.
He's starting early today, Matt, isn't he, Malcolm? He's starting early, mate. It's pretty hot where you are, isn't it, Manny, at the moment? It's 33 degrees. Wow.
Oh, yeah, completely hot. And, you know, we have directives over here in my neck of the woods not to go out when it gets too hot. Or if we must go out, we either take a brolly or wear a cap.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely hot out there. Chris, morning, Matt and Paul. It's always good to see you guys again. Yeah, always good to see you with us, Chris, as well. Thank you for joining us, mate. Nick, hope you're well. Thanks for sending your FA Cup memory to me. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. But hope you're well, mate. John, hi, Paul and Matt. Hope you're well, John. Aha, here we go.
Another John.
Another John.
Yeah.
So good to be back here with all you this evening. Cheers, guys. Yeah, thank you as always for joining us, John. Hope you're well. Murray, hi, Matt and Paul. Greetings from downtown.
Downtown. It should be downtown. Yeah.
Downtown. Right. Yes, yeah. Paul, I have the LPs you are looking for.
Thanks, Murray. And hi to John and Colin. Hi, Col.
Colin's here. Yeah, good day, Matt and Paul from the Southern Highlands. And big hello from the Wombats.
Yeah. See, John, I'll see you tomorrow, mate, if you're about. Cool, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let's start off with Spot the Ball then. Everybody knows the rules. Pop your answers in the chat. I'll star them. And at the end, we will reveal all. So this week's Spot the Ball is actually an image from an FA Cup final, which was the Manchester City-Wigan FA Cup final. And here is the winning goal. But where's the ball? Is it in position A, B, C, or D? Please pop your answers in the chat. I'll star them, and we will have a look at the end of the show. Obviously, I will let Paul and Mani have a guess as well very shortly. But yeah, guys, do please start popping your answers in the chat, and we will go from there. And they are starting to come in, so I'm going to start starring them. So thank you guys that are putting answers into the chat. And I'll leave it on there for another few seconds. But yeah, from the famous cup final that Wigan won. I can't remember the year. It's got to be about, trying to remember the year now. But I do remember the final very, very well. And this is the image of the winning goal.
I think you were possibly saying it could have been 2008, Matt, or something. But
I think a little bit later than that, maybe.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Maybe 10. I'm not sure. To be honest. But guys, some answers are coming through. Manny, would you like to have a go? Which A, B, C, or D? Where do you think the ball is?
Yes, Watson's header. I'm just trying to think of how the trajectory would have gone, because there were three defenders, including what looks like a certain James Milner standing on the goal line there. I'm going to say the only way they could possibly, go through all of them would be D. You need to make sure that you have that. Yeah, I'm going to go for D.
D.
Yeah, I'll go B, Matt. B for Bertie. Yeah.
You'll go with B.
Yeah, I think he's going to lob it in the far corner, but who knows? Oh, there you go. Well done, Chris. Yeah, well done.
2018.
Oh.
Looking at the kit, I don't think it's 2018. Is there Umbro there? I think they were Nike in 2018. Might be wrong. I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Some answers still coming in. So yeah, guys, just very quickly, one last look on the big screen here. A, B, C, or D. Please, like I say, keep your answers coming in, and we will take a look at the end of the show. Right, guys, as always, we'll touch on some Bournemouth news first before we move on. Nick says it was the same year Wigan went down. I do remember that. They won the cup and unfortunately went down, and then they were playing in Europe while in the Championship, if memory serves me right. Yeah, so let's start with some Cherries news then. So obviously it's now been made official. Oh, sorry, hold on 1 second. 2013. Yes, that sounds a bit more like it. Yeah, they were relegated over 10 years ago. Yeah, I think you're right there, Malcolm. I think you're right. 2013 sounds about right. So yes, Senesi has said, I think we've known it's been coming for a long time, but obviously the club's now officially announced that Marcus Nessie is going to be leaving the Cherries at the end of the season, which is very, very unfortunate for us. But Manny, I'll start with you first. I know you've seen Marcus Nessie play quite a few times in a Bournemouth shirt. Big loss for Bournemouth?
A very big loss, Matthew, not just because, you're going to be losing a player who has definitely improved leaps and bounds over the seasons, but to lose him on a free with no one willing to, pay for him, no one needing to pay for him, I should say, is also going to be a little bit of a bugbear. And why it couldn't have been negotiated near the end will always be something that kind of bothers me in a way. And the reason why I say it bothers me is because I have become a big well-wisher of the club in recent times. I will say, though, that for what it's worth, you will not be short of potential replacements who can come in and, do a good job for Bournemouth. The only problem is you might have to negotiate a different wage. They may need to take a pay cut, but there will be replacements. And why Senesi would want to go with the club riding a crest of the wave, I wouldn't really know. Does he feel as though maybe it's time for a new challenge? Does he, feel like Andoni, a little bit homesick and wants to go back to Argentina? Either way, it's going to be a very big loss. But if there's one thing I can say right now, and one thing which I've learned, is that your club is a club that knows how to withstand, certain disappointments, and you'll definitely have a good replacement lined up, just as you have a really quality replacement lined up for Signor Areola.
Absolutely. Paul, your thoughts on this now being confirmed?
Yeah, I'm just guessing. I think he's about 26. I'm not sure, 25, 26, but I'd say he's got another 2 or 3 years at the top. And I think he's going for the big payday. I think he's had that in his mind, possibly for the last 12 months, to say, or his agent said to him, listen, let your contract go. I'll fix you up with a big bumper payday. You'll be queuing up to sign you, mate. And he's playing out of his skin at the moment for Bournemouth for obvious reasons, because he wants to attract offers for his services, But yeah, big loss, mate. Big loss. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've loved him since he's come in. I agree with both your points there. But yeah, so we'll see him on 2 more occasions, hopefully in a Bournemouth shirt before he departs. But yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic this season and has really grown as a player in his time here. Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, he is 29. So I think
is he 29 now?
Yeah, he's 29 now.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's
fair enough. Well, he's got a couple of years.
So yeah, I think he's still got some years at the top level, definitely. But that's unfortunate this week that that has been confirmed. But I think we all knew it was coming anyway.
Yeah.
But the next bit of Cherries news then. So yes, Entain have written to Bournemouth's Bill Foley over gambling sponsor concerns. Obviously, next season, the front of shirt sponsors aren't allowed to be betting or gambling firms anymore, but they are still able to sponsor sleeves and training wear, to my knowledge. So they just written to the club about obviously BJ88 not having I think the UK license and things like that. So that's another interesting news story from the week, but we won't touch too much on that. I know we've covered off some of that a lot recently, but this is one that I'd like to get both your thoughts on. Manager of the season nominees. So obviously Andoni is in there, and rightly so. Keith Andrews, again, another one that I think deserves to be nominated. He's done a fantastic job at Brentford. Mikel and Pep were always going to be in there. But Carrick and also Lebris at Sunderland. So I think there's some interesting names there. Mani, manager of the season, normally does go to the winner of the league sometimes, but I think this season there's some real strong contenders, maybe not to go with that sort of scenario.
I think, Matt, you can always tell how strong a contenders list is when you take a look at the managers who didn't make it. And one of those contenders actually masterminded a brilliant win last night at Villa Park. Unai
Yeah,
and
true.
of course, it was
True.
your former Bournemouth loanee, Morgan Rogers, who opened accounts with a typical, absolutely gorgeous curler into the corner, which gave Georgie Mamadashvili no chance. I'll speak on Unai in a minute, and obviously, and I don't want to speak too much about Arteta and Guardiola. Obviously, as you mentioned, they are sort of expected to be there or thereabouts. But Andoni definitely deserves to be up there, and if he manages to finish, sixth or even fifth, given how Liverpool have faded away and faded fast, that would be absolutely a feather in his cap, and he definitely would, in my opinion, be the right choice for manager of the season. And, obviously there's a lot of talk about how Bournemouth may not be equipped for Europe as of yet, but that's a different story. But the work he's done ever since replacing Gary O'Neill, which wasn't a popular choice at the time, has been nothing short of magnificent. And I know he won't be short of any suitors, and he will be a very tragic loss. I mean, I can't say tragic in that sense, but you know where I'm coming from. As far as Keith Andrews is concerned, I do like what he's done at Brentford after Thomas Frank left. He has, in some matches, started to be found out a little bit, though, as has Michael Carrick, who, this is going to be controversial, but when he replaced Ruben Amorim, obviously Manchester United were not in a very good way. They had, of course, been knocked out of both cup competitions embarrassingly early, it must be said. And so United were really only playing one game a week. And so when he started by winning those games against some really good opposition, it was, I'll give him his flowers. He did well. And he certainly gave a masterclass against my Arsenal team at the Emirates. But in certain games since, he has shown that he can be found out tactically at times. And so next season, how well he does juggling 4 competitions will be interesting. I just don't know if it's a long enough time frame for him to suddenly, have been nominated manager of the season. And, when you consider that Unai Emery's Villa had a dreadful start where they couldn't score for toffee and were 19th after 5 games, he had them in a title race. Injuries disemboweled them at the worst possible time, but they've now secured Champions League qualification on their own merit. And they've made a Europa League final, which I definitely expect them to win. So there's always going to be that level of controversy. I just think it's a question of Manchester United, being given the headlines here. And for me, I'm not too sure if the time he's had at the job is a big enough sample size. As far as Labrie is concerned, he's also had a full season. He's done quite well, but in recent times he has been found out. Had it not been for that poor run in recent times, Sunderland also would perhaps have been in contention for Europe. But I would say, with the exception of Carrick, these 5, nominees are rightly nominated, rightly so. And I just hope that, whoever wins it, there will be no gnashing of teeth from the entire community because their manager didn't get the honour.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that last point there, Manny. Paul, how do you think Andoni's going to fare against his fellow nominees?
Yeah, I look at those 6. Carrick's not even done a full season, so he's not going to win it. Labrie has only done what they did at Leeds with Varka. He's halfway up the table. He's kept him up, but that's nothing exceptional to my mind. That's 2 down for me. Personally, I think Arteta will get it, probably deservedly so. I'm pretty sure they're going to win the Premier League because we're going to beat City on Tuesday, and no one will believe me, but I'm telling you, mate, we are going to beat them. We will beat City on Tuesday. You watch. Iriola, I reckon runner-up. I reckon he deserves it. He had all of his team sold from underneath him. We all know the story, the back 3 of the back 4, and he lost Kepa as well, which I thought was a far superior goalkeeper to Petrovic myself. And he just got on with it. He shut his mouth and did the job, and I think he got a lot of respect through the media for that. I think Arteta will win, and I think Iriola. Do they announce a second, guys? I don't know whether they're third or what do they do? They're just one person.
Yeah, I think they just announced the winner.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure. I would say Arteta would win. What do you reckon, Maddie?
Well, first of all, sorry.
No, go. Right.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know if you said Matty or Manny. Sorry.
No, I said Matt. Sorry, I have this. Yeah, Matt. Sorry, Manny. Sorry, mate.
Yeah. Paul sometimes calls me Matty, or he calls me Matt. So I thought you said Matt.
Sorry, guys.
I personally think, I'd love to see Andoni get it. I think, Carrick, great start to United, but I think, like Manny's point said, Emery probably should have been in that place rather than Carrick personally, because again, another good strong season. After a bit of a struggling start with goal scoring and things like that, but I think probably whoever wins the league out of City and Arsenal, I would imagine their manager will probably get the votes, because like Nick says here, it's down to fan vote only. So he reckons Arteta or Carrick will win it. And that's because due to fan base numbers, which is a possibility. But like Malcolm said a little bit earlier, all valid nominees. So it's very good interest. Different opinions, and I think I would love to see Andoni win it. I think if anybody's a neutral football fan, and didn't support any of these teams, I would like to see Andoni get the vote, just because of the excellent football that we've played, and obviously how he's brought players on, and we all know the story. But it will be interesting to see. Manny's jumped in the chat. As an Arsenal fan, I disagree with you.
Well.
I'm most worried about Andrews. First season wrote off before a ball kicked. He has done well, and I was one of them. I really thought Brentford were going to struggle this season. And let's also not forget losing Antony in January. Semenyo's done fantastic at City as well. I'm sure you'll get a good bonus if City do manage to win the league.
And Dango, we lost Dango as well.
Of course. Agreed, Matt. On many occasions, you've played better football than Arsenal, and you beat us at the Emirates 2 seasons in a row. Yeah, again, Manny, that's what a season.
Yeah, they're a bit of a pushover at the Emirates, Arsenal, aren't they these days, mate? They're not too hard, not too hard.
Well, that's the manager season nominees, and this is an exciting one for Bournemouth fans, because we've got 2 players here nominated in the young player of the season category, against some very, very top talent. Paul, if I quickly start with you this time, it's great to see 2 young Bournemouth players in there, and deservedly so. But there's some competition here.
Yeah, look, if I was on the panel, they are. I won't waste time and go through all 8 of them, because I think when we look at their names, we know who they play for, we know what they do. But you look at a 19-year-old kid, Junior Krupi, and I know I'm biased, but this is his first season in the Premier League. He's adapted from League One in France, and he's come through, and I think he's got 12, 13 goals now. Yeah, I do. And he would deserve to win that. He would deserve to win that. I mean, Arsenal would love to get him, Manny, wouldn't they? Krupi, oh yeah. Any team in that league would buy that bloke, mate. But apparently they've said he's not for sale. But my vote's for Krupi. What do you got? What do you reckon, Manny? What's your call?
Well, as with the manager of the season list, I think when it comes to, as someone said in the chat, if it's a fan-based vote, then it will probably come down to either of the City boys, Cherky or O'Reilly. I've been really impressed with the way O'Reilly's come in. He's shown that he can definitely adapt well either at left back or in the left of midfield. Cherky has also done brilliantly for City this season. But, this is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful field. And, seeing Krupi coming up with, important goals in crunch moments, you just know that when you either bring him on as a substitute or start him in the team, in the 10 behind Evan Nielsen, for example, you know that you've got a goal threat on your hands. And I'd love to see him.
Do you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me a little bit of Jermaine Defoe. That sort of player. He'll get in and sorry to interrupt you there, but I wanted to, while it was in my head, To me, what do you think? Do you think he's sort of Jermaine Defoe-ish, like with those
You could
goals?
you could say that. You could say that. I mean, like, it's difficult to sort of, put him in a box and determine what sort of striker he'd be like, because, he does have the ability to get into good positions. He does have some decent pace, a good shot on him. I think, if you saw the call-in show we did after the Arsenal game, my good friend Kenny Ken, a huge Arsenal fan, said that the epitome of the modern striker is that he's now expected, whoever he is, to be able to hold the ball up a little bit well. And so I don't know if Krupi is necessarily the typical number 9 in that respect. But, once he continues to work a lot more on his game, he will definitely be a more sought-after product. And he would actually benefit a great deal from staying for another season. And then, if another club does come in for him, they will definitely pay, more than a few doubloons for him, I would say. Yeah. So I would love to see him get it. I think Alex Scott has also been wonderful. And, this is a really, really interesting list of players. And what's amazing is that Bournemouth do have a chance of winning this award, especially with the way Krupi and Scott have been playing. But every single player on this list is worthy of, being picked. So this could be very, very exciting. I'm very interested to see how this pans out.
Absolutely. Would love Krupi to get it, but my gut feeling is O'Reilly. I will agree there with Malcolm. O'Reilly, like Manny's just said, I think the way he's come into the Man City team and how he's very adaptable, he's definitely in my World Cup squad, 100%. But yeah, I would love to see Krupi get it. At the same time, it's difficult when you've got two players from the same side there, because obviously Alex Scott has had a fantastic season. He's come on leaps and bounds this season. So yeah, I think my gut feeling's very similar there to Malcolm, but I would love to see one of our guys get it, definitely.
If it's based on the fan base, it's almost unfair, isn't it? I mean, every supporter of Bournemouth would have to vote, wouldn't they? To catch up with someone that regularly gets 50, 60,000 in the ground. But,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's not quite, it's not really fair. But, yeah.
Brian, relegation to world champs. Big up everyone. FA Cup final, let's go. FA Cup final. We'll be previewing the Chelsea and Man City Cup final very, very shortly, so stay tuned. He's always felt like a Thierry Henry for me.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, like we say, fingers crossed for the Bournemouth lads. Like Manny was saying, every player on there is very worthy of this, definitely. Right, so quickly moving on. So the unbeaten run then, so 16 games, and that is a wonderful graphic there where you see Bournemouth at the top there, 16 unbeaten this season, the longest run, which obviously now will not be beaten. Man City a second with 12, followed by Arsenal and Man United with 11 each. But this is the important one. This weekend, without kicking a ball, how we reach Europe without kicking a ball. So Everton failed to win against Sunderland, and Brentford to lose to Palace. Those games will take place tomorrow. And of course, Man City to win the FA Cup. So if all of that happens, then we should qualify without kicking a single ball. But we will obviously preview those games a little bit later. And a bit about Sinistera. So last week, Paul brought up Luis Sinistera, how he's sort of become a little bit of a forgotten player. And he'd had some injury issues on his loan spell, but it's now looking likely that he may sign. Sinistera has gone from likely exit candidate to apparent permanent target again in a space of a few weeks, with fresh reports coming from Brazil suggesting that he's going to complete a definite deal. with his current loan club. So that makes another twist in a story which has changed direction repeatedly in recent months. So, yeah, Paul, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Because last week we were kind of wondering what was going on, but now it looks like he might well sign for his loan club.
Yeah, well, I think the fee they put on his head was 10 million, which is half what Bournemouth paid for him. Either way, I don't think we can lose. I think if we pick up 10 million, that's great. If he comes back, I'd welcome him back. I think he'd be a great squad member. But we keep our eye on it, won't we? Next couple of weeks, and we'll see what the outcome is. Yeah, good pickup, Matt. Yeah,
Definitely, we will do. And a little bit of non-football related news, but obviously the Bournemouth ownership looks set to take over Exeter Chiefs, which has been an interesting one. So we're going to keep an eye on how that develops. But another potential sport and club under the Cherries umbrella, which looks set to happen. So yes, that'd be a interesting one to watch how that develops as well. But the takeover's been approved, and of course, just an update on the stadium. Now, I believe the stadium will shut from Wednesday for works to continue, but the stadium plans have been recommended for approval. There is a meeting with the council this week where they would debate and discuss the plans and the report itself before taking a vote and making a decision. But it has been recommended that the plans are approved. So everything is looking very promising there as well. But that's round up the Cherries news. And what we're going to do now is we're going to quickly jump to the comments, because there's a comment coming from David. Good morning all. In the car on my way to Bewley, spring auto jumble. I'm not driving. I'll watch as much as I can. Top notch. Thank you very much, David. Thank you. You're 4 points off Liverpool in fifth. Overtake them and you make the Champions League. Absolutely. Yeah. And like Paul just said earlier on in the show, he's got a great feeling that we're going to beat City and beat Forest at the end of the season. So, that's a definite possibility there.
I got it right last week, Matt, didn't I?
You certainly did. You did. Yeah. Manny, last night's game then, I believe you watched it. I believe you caught it as well, Paul. Unfortunately, I missed it. But Manny, 4-2 to Villa. A great goal from Morgan Rogers. What was your thoughts on the game, Manny, from last night?
Well, I mean, I was actually worried about this game, Matthew, because the thing about Aston Villa and Unai Emery is that in recent times, their form in the league was certainly not really good. It left a great deal to be desired. And what angered me, especially given that, I do want to succeed, is that they seem to take all of those league games a little bit too easy, a little bit too lackadaisical for my taste. And, they knew as well that had they gotten results against, Fulham and Tottenham and Burnley, they wouldn't have put this much pressure on themselves to win last night, especially against a Liverpool team that, for all of their failings, do have a knack of being able to, turn it on, at least in theory, when the situation demands it. But, from the get-go, I think Villa started really, they started well. They showed their aggressive intent. They did rather sloppily allow Liverpool back into it. But once, the ex-Bournemouth loanee Morgan Rogers scored, you had the feeling that Villa were starting to gain some momentum. And then, they ended up playing the second half, playing towards the Holte end. And that's always something that gives them a great deal of confidence. And the goals that they scored, John McGinn's goal in particular was an absolute cracker. This Liverpool team are in danger of ending up without Champions League football, and they will only have themselves to blame. And they're a team that are going to be in a great deal of transition, with many more club stars set to leave. And so Slot will probably be given one final season, one final chance to sort of stamp his mark on the Liverpool team and how he wants them to play and really, set a new course. And if he fails to do that, then I don't think he's going to last very long, notwithstanding the fact that he won the league in his first season. But obviously, Malcolm's saying there that Villa played for their places in the Europa League final, and they were great to watch. And this was a game, Malcolm, where I'm sure you'll agree as well, that Villa knew they couldn't afford to rest players, even in lieu of, wanting to, keep their gunpowder dry for that trip to Istanbul against Freiburg. So, fortunately, there were no injuries. I think Ollie Watkins had a bit of a scare in the first half, but he, was right as rain. They rested Victor Lindelof and brought on Ross Barkley, and it was as perfect as it could have been. And I love watching Aston Villa this season because they played some wonderful football, and they're a team you really enjoy following. But they thrill and they frustrate in equal measure, and that seems to be the thing with Unai Emery's teams. And I think with Iraola as well, also being Basque like Emery, he seems to display quite a few of those qualities, and I hope it'll be a compliment by comparing Iraola to the very well accomplished Unai Emery. So Craig was saying that he didn't want this to happen, he didn't want this to be in the script, but Aston Villa should do enough to secure fifth, because they're going to play City at the Etihad, and I think they will literally be on the beach, and their record at the Etihad isn't great. So that guarantees them top 5, because their goal difference this season has not been good. It's now going to be up to Liverpool to make sure they beat Brentford, because I expect Villa to win the Europa League, and that should get Bournemouth into the Champions League. But Villa this season, once again, under Unai Emery, if they just improve their squad and avoid injuries, they could break the City-Arsenal stranglehold, and they could literally break the top 6 hegemony, and I will be here for it.
Excellent. I love it when you talk about Villa, Manny, because you've got such a passion for them. Even though they're not your team, you just love the Villa, don't you? If Arsenal weren't in existence, you would be a Villa fan.
You could say that, mate, but I'm more of a football everyman. I like different clubs which really impress me, and there's a reason why I'm more involved with your channel now, and I can't wait to continue doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, and we love having you, Manny. Paul, quick word from you on this one. I know you saw at least the second half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I saw the second half. Just a couple of things. Manny, you watched it. I thought Villa were superior to Liverpool. They deserved to win that game for sure. The one thing I did pick up on that I don't know whether anybody noticed was there was a corner right at the end there, and Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins were having a row. Did you see him having a yell at each other in the box, telling them? Ollie Watkins was telling Morgan Rogers to get away from him and get on the edge of the box, and they were having a right old verbal. It looked quite nasty there. Did you see that argument that went on, Manny, or not?
To be honest, Paul, I don't think I caught that.
Yeah, and there was.
Here's the thing, though. It's just, a good old-fashioned barney between two teams that are fighting really hard for the same aim. And, it all works out really well in the end. You want your teammates to push each other and try and make each other better. Yeah. So even if I did see it, I don't know if I wouldn't have put too much emphasis on that, to be honest.
No, fair enough. No, but for me, I think Villa deserved to win. Liverpool, I don't know, looked a bit all over the place at times, but Salah didn't even get on. But interesting score, 4-2.
Yeah, definitely.
They let 4 goals in, didn't they? So
yeah, 4 goals, and Van Dijk I think popped up with the 2 for Liverpool, didn't he? Yeah, that was last night's game. There's no Premier League games today. Obviously, Bournemouth are not playing this weekend because we were due to play Man City, but we do have a rundown of tomorrow's games. So obviously we've got Manchester United and Forest. That's at 12:30. And then we've got the 3 p.m. kickoffs of Brentford and Palace, Everton and Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, Wolves and Fulham. And then at 5:30, the tea time kickoff, we've got Newcastle United against West Ham, which is going to be a real big game. Manny, as you well know how the format works, we tend to go through and give a prediction to each game. So Manny, how do you think Manchester United and Nottingham Forest is going to pan out tomorrow?
Well, I think it's fair to say that United have now done enough to secure third place in the league, and with Forest knowing that they are safe from relegation, I really don't see this game going any other way than a United win. It won't be a very convincing win. I think this is going to be, a well-fought game, but United will probably just have a little bit too much for Forest in the way, and they're going to want to finish definitely, as I've said, as high as they can, and give themselves some more confidence going into next season. So I'll go for a 2-1 win for the Red Devils here.
Right. Okay, Paul.
Yeah, totally agree. Could be more than 2-1, Maddie. Manny. Oh dear. Yeah. United win. What do you reckon, Matt?
I'm going with United. Yeah, definitely so. United. Yeah, so. Absolutely. Brentford versus Palace. I'm going to go with a draw on this one because I think that might be different to how you both are going to think. Manny, what do you reckon?
I actually think this could be a draw too because, Brentford actually are not in the best of positions when it comes to trying to fight for Europe. And I think they're probably going to miss the boat because they're a little bit too far behind you lot right now at Bournemouth. And Crystal Palace as well. There is some talk about whether about them possibly resting some players when they play us at Selhurst Park on the final day because they're now more or less focused on the Conference League final. But this is a game also where I think they will want to try to secure a good win and a good performance. And it'll probably be one of those games where both teams end up cancelling each other out because neither team will want to lose this game. I do know a Brentford fan who says that, for what it's worth, it's just as well that Brentford might likely not make Europe this season because, the way they're going, they're just not quite ready at the moment. But I see this being a draw. And the funny thing is, with the strike forces that, both teams have, there will be some goals in this. I might even go so far to predict a 2-2 draw. And that could be, something that will definitely, what can I say? It'll certainly make Palace all the more determined to make sure they get a result in the final game of the season, which may not necessarily work well for us, but, it is what it is. So 2-2.
2-2. Paul.
Yeah, sorry. Brentford for me, I think these games are worth money, aren't they? It's another 2 positions in the league. They get more of a payout in a fortnight's time. So I think they'll be going for it. I think Brentford will do Palace. Palace are awful at the moment. But as Manny said there, Brentford, I believe they're off form as well myself. But what do you reckon, Matt?
Yeah, I've gone with a draw on that one.
Have you? Right, cool. Yeah. Lovely.
Everton, Sunderland. So this is one of the fixtures that we need to go our way. Can Sunderland pick up a draw at Everton? I don't know. So I'm going to let you go first on this one, Paul. I'm gonna let you go first on this one as a Cherries fan. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, look, I think I look at these teams now, and 2 years ago I'd have thought, Everton, and I look at the way Bournemouth have been playing, and to me now I think we could beat any of these teams. Bournemouth. Well, we've proven it was 16 unbeaten, and they wouldn't hold any fear if Bournemouth had to go to Everton. I think Sunderland could even get a win there. Why not?
So what are you going with?
I'm going to go with a Sunderland win. Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah. I'm thinking opposite. Because our percentages are down, Matt. So, yeah.
Okay. Manny, Everton, Sunderland.
I see this game going, again, the way of the Brentford Palace game. It'll be a 2-2 draw. Everton's home record this season hasn't really been the best, and I know that they did us a huge favour by, completely overseeing a City implosion to the tune of 3-3. But, Everton, it's amazing, really, because when you take a look at the points tally that they have, Sunderland, I don't think, have any chance of catching you now, Matt, because they're 7 points behind you with 2 to play. Everton could catch you, but the only way they could is if they, is if you implode in both games. And I see you definitely at least beating Forest in your final game of the season, and I would love to see that, regardless of what happens on Tuesday. So this particular game will probably see Sunderland act as a spoiler for Everton's European hopes, and I think the way they are at Everton, I think they're also in a way not quite ready to make that step towards Europe just yet. This will probably end up being a draw, which won't suit either team. And I think if either team fails to win this game, then that is pretty much it for their European hopes. 2-2.
Okay. I'm going to slightly agree with this comment from Nick. I think Everton might be too strong on the day, so I'm gonna go with an Everton win, unfortunately. And I hate to say that, but yeah, it's gonna be a Everton win, I think. Leeds Brighton, Mani.
Oh, Brighton are definitely the team that are, really your direct competitors for European football / Champions League football. Leeds have definitely recovered quite well this season and certainly have a knack of, grinding out results and frustrating teams. It's tough to call this one. I'm also going to sit on the fence here and say that this could end up being a draw as well. Brighton, obviously, being without Mitoma, who's also missed out on being picked for the Japanese World Cup squad, will be a bit of a loss, but someone like a Danny Welbeck will definitely want to score a couple more goals and try and inch himself further to a sensational England recall for the World Cup. It's hard to call this. I know Colin's just gone for a 2-1 Leeds win because Leeds at Elland Road are very, very, intimidating and quite threatening. But this actually could be a game with, Brighton having a lot to play for, Leeds comfortably safe. Again, I just don't know if I can see Brighton really getting the result they need. But they're not going to lose this game. I don't think they will. So again, it'll be a draw. But I'm going away from my usual Desmond and going for a 1-1. I think it's going to be a lot tighter. And Leeds under Farker do like a 1-1 draw.
Yeah. And you've got a big up Manny there in the chat. Chris is also going for 2-1 win. Yeah, do you know what? Brighton, this is right. I mean, Manny saying this is a tricky one. This is going to be a tight one to kind of predict. And do you know what? Brighton can turn up there and beat Leeds, and Leeds on their day at home could beat Brighton. This is a difficult one. Do you know what? I think Brighton might edge the win here. I think I'm going to go with Brighton win. I know that's not great for us, but I just think, Brighton win for me. Paul?
Yeah, look, I think Leeds is a horrible place for any team to go to. It's a horrible. The atmosphere there is incredible. I have to go for a Leeds home win. I know. Perhaps in the back of my mind, I'm thinking Brighton are challenging us. They're the last team that can catch us, I think. But no, I've got to go Leeds. It's such a horrible place to play for any team to go there. We've seen it with Bournemouth over the last 2 or 3 years. It's a horrible place to go. The crowd are so on you in that ground. Yeah, Leeds for me. Yeah.
Cool. And there's a few people back in Leeds there in the chat as well. So, and Malcolm as well. Leeds Fortress. We'll see them over the line. Yeah. Maybe I'm going to be completely wrong on that one. That'd be great if I am. But that's just the feeling I've got with tomorrow. Wolves and Fulham. Manny, relegated Wolves go host Fulham at home. Another one that might be a bit of a, probably not the most interesting game of the day, hey, should we say?
Yeah, definitely not interesting. I mean, Wolves are relegated and they're now playing some of their fringe players, preparing for a championship season under Rob Edwards. And Fulham, they're a team that have disappointed me at times. This is a team, Matthew, which you would think would have the ambition to try and dream of a cup run or European qualification. But it's like every time they get an opportunity to prove themselves, they just completely, muck it up, and they just don't. They just seem to be content with, sticking around in a comfortable mid-table position, and there's no real desire to try to, improve yourself and go that one step further. Now, I know obviously that Premiership survival and remaining in the division is effectively teams' bread and butter. But ideally, you'd want to ditch the bread and butter and maybe have an occasional, occasional pizza every now and then with, with a cup run or possibly qualifying for Europe. And that's something that fans will remember for quite some time. And Fulham did reach the Europa League back in the day. Now, perversely, a Fulham win could take them to 51 points, the same tally as Brentford. If Brentford lose to Palace. I just don't see Fulham having any ambition to try to, reach for the European places. I think Marco Silva might end up leaving the club and moving to another club, and they will be, a club in transition as well. I'm not really interested in this game, and I think, Fulham might just have that bit more quality, though. 2-1 to the Cottages.
Okay. Paul?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a draw. I think a lot of what Manny said is right. Besides the manager leaving, I think Wilson, he's out of contract and he's refusing to sign a contract. He'll go. He's a quality player at the peak of his career at the moment. I'm going to go for a draw, Matt. Yeah, on that.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of edging towards these comments as well. Like this one. Malcolm, 0-0 written all over it. Wolves win, no pressure. That's an interesting point as well from Nick there. Chris has gone with a 0-0. And we've also got a 1-0 to Fulham. Not the most interesting fixture. So I'm going to go with, I think Fulham may edge it. So I'm going to go Fulham on this one, but I totally agree with all the points Manny made there about Fulham and their season. A big one at 5:30. Both sides want the points. Obviously, Newcastle not had a great season in the league, so obviously they want to get as many points on the board as possible. West Ham need the points to stay up. Manny, Newcastle, West Ham, how do you see that one going?
The Callum Wilson derby. This should be fun. Newcastle as well. They're a club that also have some really great moments, but this season has been a bit of a disappointment for them in the way they've, sort of declined a great deal in the league while also not seeing their European adventure go to plan. Obviously they, the memories of them being pumped for 7 goals at Barcelona's home ground will not want to stay with them for a long period of time. And they're in a season, they're in a phase of flux, you could say. And there will be, of course, doubts about whether or not Sir Eddie Howe might even, have much of a future at the club. He might be given one more season and then told, you've got to try and do better. West Ham, they were given life by Spurs' draw against Leeds at the Tottenham Stadium, but they just have a bit of a tougher job to try to avoid relegation at the moment. And Nuno has made them, defensively tougher to break down very easily. But you just know that at times there will be some moments where they slack off defensively and allow Newcastle to come in. And I just think Newcastle as well, with quite a few of their respected first teamers having come back in. A lot of people have gone for, a Newcastle win. I think, is that Malcolm who says that West Ham might get a 2-0 win? I'm not too sure. Newcastle are a very nasty team as well to play at St. James's Park, just like Leeds, and they've got the crowd backing them. It's going to be quite difficult in a way. I see this going 2-1 the way of Newcastle. and I think for West Ham it's going to be a bit difficult. And I'll just be away from the keyboard for a few minutes. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries, Manny. No worries. I'm kind of going with, and I think, Paul, this one. I'm going with a West Ham win.
Oh.
And it's going to be 1-1. And I think they're going to bring Wilson off the bench, and I think Wilson's going to score the winner. I think it's kind of written all over it.
Right. Well, I think Eddie's been under a lot of pressure with the Middle East consortium, and he's now worked his way through that. He knows he's going to be there next season, so I think that pressure's off of him in his head. I think Newcastle will beat him quite easily. I've said for the last 6 weeks West Ham are going. I still believe they'll go down. I think Newcastle will win that game for sure. 50,000 passionate Geordies, mate. Right, you know they'll be cheering them on right to the last minute, and I think Newcastle will win that for sure. Yeah.
Well, there we go then. Let's see how many we get right next week. I think we had 50% of our predictions right last week. If that's right,
correct.
Paul? Yeah.
Correct,
so let's see
mate.
if we can do better than 50%. And we'll see next week.
Sure.
And of course, there's one on Monday night. Relegated Burnley face potential champions Arsenal. What do you reckon to this one? I think it's a Arsenal win all day. I think it's quite an easy one to predict. But then again, Burnley did give who was it they gave a game to the other day? Jadon Anthony scored, didn't he?
It was 3-3, wasn't it, or something? The game that was in.
Was that against Villa?
I think it was.
Villa?
Yeah, or 2-2. It was something. Yeah, Jadon Anthony's been the star of Burnley.
So you never know. Burnley might prop up and try and cause a little bit of an upset, but Arsenal will be too strong anay, I think, on that one. Remember West Ham won at Newcastle last season? They did. They did. Burnley 0-0 draw from Nick there. I don't know if I can see a 0-0 draw at the Emirates against Burnley, but who knows? But Manny is obviously an Arsenal fan, but we'll get Manny's prediction when he comes back. Arsenal win 4-0.
Could well be.
Could well be. It was Villa 2-2. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Nick there with his laughing face emojis. So when Manny returns, we will get that prediction from Manny. Just very, very quickly, for those that maybe are just joining us, you can have another quick go at Spot the Ball. A, B, C, or D. Pop your comments in the chat. I'll star them and we'll do them at the end of the show. But we're going to now move on to our FA Cup final prediction. And today's game, obviously, we have Chelsea taking on Man City at Wembley at 3 p.m. today. Paul, obviously, I think we want City to win.
Yep.
It'd be nice to see Semenyo have another medal this season, which would be lovely to see. Chelsea, obviously, in this, I don't know whether you'd call it a transition period or what, but it's a very difficult one. A bit of a difficult time in terms of the managerial side of things. So I think the emphasis is on City to win it. What's your feelings on?
I'm veering towards Man City, and from a Bournemouth point of view, I look at it as a neutral. From a Bournemouth point of view, I hope they do win it, because normally they go on a 24-hour celebration or longer, and they'll come to. If they win it, then they're guaranteed. Well, they're in Europe anyway, aren't they? But they're guaranteed another European place for the English team. So I think City will win it. I think they'll do it over 90 minutes. I don't think there'll be any extra time or anything. Like you say, for Antoine Semenyo, it'd be lovely for him to win. And this, I can't say I hope they get a few injuries, but I sort of do. But for Tuesday, but who knows? Anything can happen. But no, City for me, Matt, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
Okay. It could be City's only trophy this season, so Pep will place a lot of importance on this game. Didn't they win the Carabao Cup though? So this will be a cup double
Right.
for City.
Yeah.
If they win this one,
Right.
it'd be the domestic cup double that they'd do. Because obviously they beat Arsenal back in March, didn't they, for the Carabao Cup? So, yeah. So
I think we'll win it, yeah.
I don't think though, Paul. I'm going to have to disagree with you on.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought they had, Nick. I thought they had. No worries, mate. I think. I've got to disagree with you on the point of the whole celebrating. I think as soon as they've done those celebrations on the pitch, I think Pep's going to have them straight back ready.
Do you reckon?
Bournemouth's going to be a difficult game for him. Pep knows that. That. They won't be celebrating. He will say you can celebrate as much as you want on the final day of the season when we pick up the Premier League trophy. They're going to just be focused on winning today and then straight back on it. They'll have a little bit of a celebration after the game, but he will have straight back on it. I can't see him letting them celebrate for long. Nice to see it go to extra time to wear out the chavs for us.
Yeah. I mean, who'd want to come to Bournemouth, Matt, at the moment? Which team would want to come to Bournemouth?
This is it.
We're on form, mate.
You're on form.
Yeah.
City know it's going to be a tough game coming down to the Vitality, or Dean Court, as I still like to call it, on Tuesday night. Here's an interesting one. If Pep does a cup double, does Pep leave at the end of the season? Well, there was something going around social media where they were doing something on the pitch at the Etihad with all the trophies around the centre circle.
Yeah.
And it was a question saying, is it going to be Pep's last game because they've got all his trophies that he's won at City all lined up at, it was an aerial shot of the pitch. But I don't know if that, what social media is like. Who knows whether that's true or not. I don't know whether he'd want to leave on just a cup double. I think he'd want to win everything again before he left. But yeah, who knows? Mani, how do you see today's cup final going? Me and Paul are both going with City. What's your thoughts on today's final?
Well, I'm sort of wearing sky blue in a way. I'm not too fond of either club. So, City to win. No ifs, buts, or walnuts. And as far as the Arsenal-Burnley game is concerned, I'm hopeful that we do the job against Burnley on Monday, which will make our life a bit easier. But as many Arsenal fans will agree, we still have the ability to, stuff it up in some way or another, especially with Arteta as manager. We know that he is capable of, pulling off some rubbish that could, derail our progress. And Burnley, despite being relegated, will want to, some of their players are going to play for their moves to new clubs. And a certain Kyle Walker, former City captain and former Spurs defender, would love nothing more than to, muck up our title challenge, especially if it means doing his old manager a favour. I'll be going for, a 3-1 win, but whenever I've predicted a 3-1, on more often than not, it hasn't gone to plan. I just hope the boys will prove me wrong. And City to thrash Chelsea, I'm going for a 3-1.
Wow. Well, that's the cup final today. Let us know your score predictions in the chat for today's final. Malcolm reckons that the winners will lift the trophy. But yeah, put your score predictions in. Let us know who you think's going to win. And that kicks off at 3 p.m. at Wembley today. Right, so as it's our FA Cup final special, we're going to just quickly reminisce towards the end of the show now about some finals. Now, Paul has highlighted several. I'm sure Manny's got quite a few memories of finals from out the years. So we're just going to look back at that for a little bit before the end of the show. Good to see you, Tony. Hope you're well. Hammers Football TV. Hope you're well. A really good channel there. So if you guys been watching, haven't checked, I know you like it as well, Paul, don't you?
Yeah, it is. I've watched that channel. He does a great job on there. I feel for you, mate, this year, but the season you've had's been horrible. But we've been there. Bournemouth have been there too. But you've got a great channel.
Yeah,
I've seen
it is a great channel, and I'm kind of hoping West Ham stay up. I know Dave DeCosta ain't going to like that, but I've always had a bit of a soft spot for West Ham, as I've said many, many times. Colin, 3-1 to City.
There you go.
So your first final then, Paul, that you highlighted was the 1959 final, Nottingham Forest versus Luton Town. Now, that's one that probably doesn't stick in the memory of many people, unless you're a Forest fan or a Luton fan. But there's a certain Roy Dwight, who is the cousin of music legend Elton John. You know how we all like a bit of music on this show. We don't have the music feature this week, so this will act as our music feature. So he's the cousin of Elton John, as we know, who was known as Reginald Kenneth Dwight. But he actually scored the opening goal of the 1959 final after only 10 minutes and then broke his leg shortly after. And obviously back then, no substitutes, so Forest played on for 60 minutes with only 10 men. And I believe they won the trophy. Am I right in thinking?
Correct, mate. It was 2-1 to Forest, and it's just one of those strange, quirky facts, isn't it? And just to go on from that, after that, it was Roy, his cousin, who actually got Elton John his first musical engagement as well, on the road to stardom in latter times. But yeah, it's a strange fact, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting one when you brought that one up, Paul. Thank you for Hammers Football TV. No worries at all, Tony. Great channel. Keep up the good work, mate. Joe. Why do I say Joe? His name's Malcolm.
I want to be like you, Mel. That's at the start of the show. I hear it every week, Mel. Yeah.
My first cup final that I saw was Spurs versus Chelsea in 1967.
David Webb, possibly. No, it wouldn't be Webby. No. Eddie McCready in that.
And David DeCosta there. I think that's aimed at me. But yeah, good pick there. Good pick. Next one, for your memories, Paul. 1-0 Manchester. Well, 1-0 Southampton against Manchester United in the 1976 final. So an 83rd minute goal by Bobby Stokes gave Saints their only FA Cup win. United were third in Division 1, while Saints sat sixth in the league below. Saints side included Peter Osgood, Mick Channon, is it? Mick Channon?
Yeah.
And was managed by Louis McNamee. And United had the likes of Alex Stepney in goal, Lou Macari, Steve Coppell on the outfield there. Why does this one stick in your mind then, Paul?
I guess with living in Bournemouth, it's just up the road, as we know, and it was a shock. United were expected to win that game quite easily. And the guy who scored the winner, Bobby Stokes, in the 83rd minute, he was actually out of contract. So he'd have been out of a job a fortnight later. But Laurie McMenemy, their manager, extended him another year because he'd scored that winning goal. I love the programme. I think it says at the bottom 20p or something. The price of it, does it say 20p?
Yeah, 20p.
Yeah,
20p. What's it now at the cup final? Like a tenner, isn't it?
Probably. I think it was a great time for Saints. Laurie McMenemy was a great manager. Look at the stars he brought into that club as he went through his career. I actually won some money on that game. I don't normally bet a lot, but I did. I actually won. I think there were about 11-1, and I won some money on that game. It was just one of those things, and they wore the special yellow and blue shirts up the top. I just think it was of its time, and it was a shock, and it was great. I mean, I would rather have Saints have won it. It was a good final. Love the programme. Yeah,
some good memories there for Saints fans. And your last pick was the FA Cup final of 1981, which might please a certain viewer. A tale of 2 goals for Tommy Hutchinson, as he scored in the 30th minute and then added an own goal in the 79th minute to take the final to its first replay since 1970. So some Bournemouth connections with this one, including John Bond, who was managing Man City, while Kevin Reeves was playing for the Blues. and will always be remembered for that Ricky Villa's solo goal in the replay. Now, I've seen that goal many, many times. I'm sure Manny has as well. This one sticks in your mind, Paul?
Very much.
For that solo goal, or
for a few things, I think, Matt. Firstly, of its time, Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa played for Argentina, and they won the World Cup that year. Well, 78, they won the World Cup. And I think this was the first time the Football League, or Division 1 then, wasn't it, in those days? But they had an influx of foreign players. And Spurs, I think they broke the barrier, pushed the boundaries on that, and they brought two of the Argentinian World Cup winners in. Ricky Villa in the bottom picture, he was a great player. That goal, I think I read, was voted the goal of the century at Wembley in that replay. It was a great goal. And as you say, the Bournemouth connection, love the programme again. What's that one? Oh, it's gone up to 80p there, that one. But
the actual match day programme was 80p, but the replay programme, which is just pictured there next to it, was 60p.
Wow. Something actually went down. That makes a change, doesn't it? But the Bournemouth connection, John Bond, the manager, and Kevin Reeves. And a strange story about Kevin Reeves. I was minding my own business must have been about 7 or 8 years ago in Bundanoon at the market there where I go. And I must have had some football programs. I wouldn't sell on any Bournemouth football programs. And I had some football programs to sell. And this couple came up, middle-aged couple came up. And he said, oh, this, that, and the other. He said, oh, my lad used to play for Bournemouth. I said, you're joking. Yeah, he said, my lad used to play. I said, what was his name? He said, Kevin Reeves. I said, wow. I said, I used to watch him in the 70s, mid-70s with Bournemouth every fortnight over at Dean Court. And that was his mum and dad. So they're obviously living here in Australia. And further down the track, I actually met his mum again at a doctor's surgery. And I don't know where Kevin Reed lives at the moment, but I'm pretty sure his parents are living over here in Australia, possibly in this area of the Southern Highlands. Yeah. So I actually met his mum and dad. Just a fluke. But it was a great tie. Spurs deserved to win it. It was a great tie. And the replay was on a Thursday night, I think, both live on BBC. Without Gary Lineker. I don't know how they managed it, but there you go, mate.
That Spurs team from 1981 was legendary.
Yeah.
There's some of the players, Perryman, Clements, Archibald, Ardiles. Yeah, I mean, some great players there.
Ray Clements, yeah.
So, cup final memories. If you've got any cup final memories, do chuck them in the chat. We'll have a reminisce before we finish. But Manny, cup final memories for you. There's a few there from Paul. Which cup finals really stick in your memory from over the years?
Well, the first FA Cup final with which I was involved actually was in 1991. And it was a little bit, bittersweet in a way because Spurs and Arsenal met in the semi-final at, I think it was Wembley. And, Arsenal that season were doing brilliantly in the league and we could have had a league and cup double. But it was two Italia 90 heroes, Paul Gascoigne and Gary Lineker, who paid to that. Gascoigne with a wonderful free kick that, Barry Davies described as schoolboys' own stuff. And then Gary Lineker scoring a wonderful double. Alan Smith to get a consolation. And the final was interesting because that was a final which I didn't see live. Because I remember having to go out to, a friend's daughter's first birthday party. I was actually, I think I was 10 that year. And earlier that morning, I had a cousin who had come over to visit our family in Dartford in England where we lived. He had come all the way from India. And he was actually a physical education teacher who specialised in football. And he was teaching me the importance of kicking using the instep of your foot and not using the toe. You always have to use the instep when you kick. Put your laces through it, as they say. So we were taking shots. I was standing in goal. He kicks one. It smashes me here on my right wrist, and it hurts like billion. And I don't have time to even go to the hospital to sort of get it treated because we had to leave for the party. So I had to put sort of wrap some cloth around it, keep it tight, reduce the pain, as it were. And then later on that night, when I came back, I went to the clinic and sort of had some plaster put on it. So we couldn't see it live. We had it recorded, and I remember seeing the final, everything about it. Stuart Pearce's free kick, Paul Gascoigne's moment of madness, Paul Stewart's equaliser, and then Des Walker's own goal. So Italian 90 heroes, playing their part there. The first final I did see live was the following year between Liverpool and Sunderland. Sunderland, of course, that year they, I think they actually were in the league below the first division. I think they might have been the second division at the time, but they did really well to reach the final, and they had a pretty solid team at the time with the likes of Irish international John Byrne as striker and quite a few other players. But it was actually an Arsenal legend, Michael Thomas, who scored that first goal, an absolute rocket into the net, which went all the way past Tony Norman in goal. And then Liverpool legend Ian Rush scoring the second to, seal it. That was another final which I watched on BBC's Grandstand. That was a wonderful. Grandstand was just British TV excellence personified, really. And then after that, obviously, we left the UK and we ended up, spending time in the Middle East, where we didn't have coverage of, English football for a very long time, and we could only really watch international football. I had to depend on, newspaper stories. So, another final which I really did enjoy seeing, of course, was Arsenal beating Chelsea 2-0 in 2002. Ray Parlour and Freddie Ljungberg with a couple of absolute worldies. And then I also enjoyed Portsmouth beating Cardiff City, a certain Henry James Redknapp leading Pompey to victory again against Cardiff City. And that Pompey team had several Arsenal legends, including Sol Campbell as captain and Nwankwo Kanu, who scored the winner. So I would say those are probably, my most notable memories of the FA Cup. If I don't get to see my own team play, I always, watch a certain FA Cup final if I think there's something interesting about it, and I always try to, support an underdog team, as it were. But my biggest regret was that because I was just so young back in the UK and not really into football then until Italia 90, I missed out on watching several classic FA Cup finals over the years, obviously. So that's always going to be a big regret. And I'd like to think that, had things worked out differently, I would have seen a lot more. But, it is what it is, and we still have our memories. And, it's always good fun watching the FA Cup final.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it's, I go back. Probably the first one that really sticks out for me was the Everton-Manchester United final, I think in 95, which Everton won. A certain Paul Rideout, who was born just down the road, involved in that one. But the one that I have a real memory of, like the build-up of all the coverage throughout the day and things like that, was the 96 final, Manchester United-Liverpool. And Cantona with that half volley from just on the D, I think, if I remember rightly, and he's half volleyed it, and that was the winner. I don't think it was the most exciting of finals, but what stood out with there was the dreadful suits that the Liverpool players had on, those cream suits. But you know what, I really liked the finals. Those sort of like late 90s finals, Arsenal and Newcastle. That final, and then the following year I think it was Newcastle and Man United. So they really stick in my memory. But what I miss really most about cup finals now is the lack of the coverage. Cup final day used to be, everybody watching it from like 10:30, Paul, 11 o'clock in the morning.
I think you're right. I think it used to be 10 o'clock.
And you used to have the build up at the players' hotels, and
that's right.
And I think that was, such a magical thing. Whereas the coverage now isn't nowhere near as good as it used to be.
Yeah, this is the 145th cup final.
Is it?
145th, and the prize money is £2 million. crazy. That's it. Crazy amount of money, isn't it? £2 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great conversation, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Paul, who's this?
I'm afraid I don't know. I don't know this person. I hope I don't. No idea. But lovely to have your comments, mate.
Lovely comment. Thank you.
Yeah, keep them coming in. If you've got a prediction on the cup final, put your score in. But
yes, and there's been some comments as well, which I'll just go back over before we wrap up. Some people chucking some memories in there. This one, first cup final I remember was Watford versus Everton. Now, is that the famous cup final where Elton John was there? And I think Graham Taylor was manager, wasn't he? Was it Howard Kendall, manager of Everton?
Wow, well done. I think you're probably right on it, Matt. Yeah. Right on it.
I think it's Howard Kendall, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's the first final there for Brian. Malcolm, 1986 final, Liverpool versus Everton. Unbelievable. Merseyside Derby Cup final. That was when Liverpool were pretty much winning everything. But didn't Everton win the league around the mid-80s? Am I right in thinking? Under Howard Kendall?
I think you are.
Yeah,
right.
It was 87. I think they won it. Yes, and
87.
And they also, I remember, won an interesting treble of League, FA Cup, and European Cup Winners' Cup back in the day. A certain Peter Reid was a key part of that Everton team. Let me just confirm that for you.
And Craig Johnston, I think, played for Liverpool in that one.
Yes.
The Australian, I think he did, and I think he scored. I think it was 3-1 or something. But
I think you're right there, Paul. From what I can, if memory serves me right. Next, 1990 FA Cup final, the famous Palace United one, which ended in the 3-3 draw, and a young lad, Ian Wright, scored 2 goals for Palace. Steve Coppell was manager, and yes, Man United won the replay 1-0. And it was Alex Ferguson's first trophy in 3 years at the club. And if he hadn't won that final, I reckon he would have been sacked. Now, I think when you look back, there was a lot of talk of him being sacked at that time, wasn't there? Last cup final at the old Wembley, the programme cost £10. It was a booklet.
Wow.
So the last cup final at the old Wembley was Chelsea Villa, wasn't it? 2001?
Well, I wouldn't know that.
I think it was 2001, 2003 maybe.
Yeah.
Long time ago. 1995, Paul Rideout scoring for Everton against Manchester United, and obviously he has been on the channel. Great guy. We do have an interview with him on the channel. The oldest football cup competition in the world. Coverage all day, reporters on the team bus. That was great. That was great. That was great.
Yeah.
2000. Wow, 2000. Yes, of course.
2000, that's right.
Yeah, wow. And 3-2 final score. 3-2 final score. Yeah, that would be a great cup final if that's for today's cup final. But thanks everybody for sharing their memories. Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Did we have a couple of photos sent in, Matt, from a viewer?
We did from Nick, but I didn't have time to prep.
Oh, so sorry. Okay,
No, I didn't have time to prep him. But Nick did send us a nice Nick from Nick's World of Football podcast. He sent me a couple of photos yesterday evening of his mug that he's got from the 1981 final.
That's right.
Sorry, Nick. I was going to try and get it up on the screen, but I ran out of time.
Sorry, Matt. I thought you'd forgotten. But also, we've got to do Spot the Ball.
We have. Another massive cup final at Wembley was Wimborne Town 5. That was the FA Vars. Yes, the FA Vars. Now, that is a trophy that we should talk about at some point. But that day at Wimborne, that day at Wembley, Wimborne, I think Tommy Killick, wasn't he playing up front that day, Nick? Who else would have been involved? Was Taffy Richardson involved? some great names from local football around here. Just very quickly, Manny, can you just give us a score prediction for the Arsenal game?
The one against Burnley, I think I already did that after I came back, didn't I?
You possibly may have done, mate. Yeah. What was the score?
3-1. 3-1.
Thank you, Manny.
I'm going for 3-1.
Is that to Burnley, was it, Manny?
Yes.
3-1.
Because I had to go away from the keyboard, and the very first thing I did was just come back and see what I missed. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. You already did, so.
Yeah. That was only a joke.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, that was only a joke. I said that Burnley would win 3-1, but I don't believe that for 1 minute. But yeah, that's good.
Well, we're going to conclude the show with Spot the Ball. I've got everybody's answers starred in the comments. So that's this week's Spot the Ball from the Cup Final, the Wigan Man City Cup Final of 2013, we believe, if I remember rightly, thanks to those that chucked the dates into the chat. So Malcolm's gone with C. Nick's gone with D. Chris has gone with A. Murray's gone with D. Colin's gone with A. Assuming that's Craig's gone with B. David's gone with C. Julie's gone with B. Nick went with D. Yeah. Okay. So, Manny, what was your guess again? Sorry.
D. I went with D.
D. That's right. And which one did you go with, Paul?
B.
Right. Okay. Well, for those that guessed B,
Ooh.
you'll be correct. And again, Paul has managed to completely blag this because I've not shown him it. He doesn't ever see Spot the Ball until you guys see it. So Paul, yet again, has managed to guess it right, but I can guarantee he's not seen this.
That's true.
Very true.
You look at that picture and it's like he's sort of lobbed the ball over the defenders to the far post. I mean, it's easy to say now I got it right. I could have just as easily got it wrong, but yeah, there you go, Matt. Yeah.
And that's it. There you go. It's all for just a bit of fun.
Right.
Yes, thank you to everybody for joining us. A couple of last comments. It's weird having the cup final before the end of the season. Yeah, that's what Manny was saying earlier. I think it should be at the end of the season. I'm sure there's the reasons why, and we could go into it for hours.
I think it could be something to do with the World Cup, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Might well be.
I think it might be. Yeah.
Thanks for the show, guys. Have a great weekend, everyone, and you as well. Malcolm, hope you're well. And I'm sure I'll catch up with you at some point with the football over the weekend. Brian, A. Well, yeah, you would have been wrong if you got it in on time, but A. On that one. Spot the Pool. Darren, hi and bye. Very busy day. We'll watch back. Hope you're well, Darren. Thanks for dropping in, and hope you enjoy watching back. Well done, Paul, the boss.
Not on the show. He's not talking about the show. He's talking about something else there. But,
right, okay. Vanessa, great show. Thank you all. Thank you, Vanessa, and to all the Watkins gang for joining us every week. Murray, thanks, Matt and Paul. Great show as always, guys. Good insights, Manny. Yeah, this is why we got Manny on for this one, because Manny is extremely knowledgeable on everything football. And I'm sure
I try. I'm no expert. I just try.
No,
Thank
Manny,
you very much indeed.
Your knowledge is wonderful, and it's been a pleasure to have you on, mate. And Matt and I have both enjoyed having you here. And
thank you.
I normally hear your fan clicking away in the background, but you didn't have it on today, did you? So
no, I didn't, because like I said, no disturbances. I didn't want anything to sort of affect everything. I had to be called away from the computer, duty calls and all that, but I've really enjoyed being a part of this, and I'm just hopeful that we will have a good game today. And I think you are spot on, Paul. It is going to be due to the World Cup, the bloated World Cup as it is. And that's something that I'm sure Craig and I will be, getting our teeth stuck into once we do our recording. definitely.
And you know what? Before you go, Manny, I'm going to make your day because I'm going to be spot on again, mate. You keep your eye on Tuesday night at Dean Court. We're going to do you a big favour, matey. I'm telling you.
I hope you do. I hope you do, sir. I'll be watching that with keen interest.
We've only got to sort out Antoine and Doco, and I think we're on the right track, mate. How we're going to do that, I don't know. But I think we're going to do them, mate. You just wait. Yeah.
You'll find your way. I'm sure you will.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I put my head on the block, Manny.
He's been saying it for weeks. Bournemouth are going to beat Man City on Tuesday night.
And I got it right last week, Manny, when people were saying it would be a draw. And I said, no, we're going to go there and win. You don't want to play Bournemouth right now. You do not want to play Bournemouth, mate, whoever you are. I mean, we've done them all over the season. We've done Liverpool, we've done Spurs, we've done Arsenal. Sorry, Manny, but we have. We've done the big boys, mate. We're up there. We're doing you. And it's going to, I'll make a fool of myself when I say we're going to win. Anyway, hand over to you, Matty. And thanks again, Manny. It's been great to have you on, mate. Great.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Great show, Matt and Paul. It's the playoffs next week. Yes, definitely exciting times. I love the playoffs. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the Southampton thing, but that's a story for another day.
Do you know? I mean, I promised someone I'd talk about it. We need to stop, but I feel for Hull City. They don't know whether they're coming or going, but and they've done nothing wrong. But anyway, back to you, Matt. We need to end the show. My apologies.
No worries. Luis Gomez Jr. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining us. Do watch the show back. Thanks for the show. Cheers, Julie. Hope you're well. Nick's World of Football. Yeah. You're too modest, Manny. Great insights. Absolutely. Man City supporter. Want to travel agents asked for best place. So agent stated you can't be right.
That's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah. Cheers, Darren. Darren is always chucking the jokes in. Cheers, buddy. Well, that concludes the show for today. Thanks to everybody for joining us on this FA Cup special. Big thank you to Manny for joining myself and Paul today. It's been great to have you with us, Manny, as always. Always a pleasure to work with you. And I'm sure we'll have you back on the sidelines in sometime in the future.
Looking forward to it, Matthew. Wouldn't miss it for all the tea in China.
Brilliant. Thank you, Manny. And Paul, as always, I'll let you have the final word.
Yeah, well, I normally don't say goodbye from myself, so I'm going to say goodbye from Manny in 33-degree heat in India. Correct, Manny? And I'm going to say
33 degrees.
Oh, it's gone down. Oh, that's all right. And I'll say goodbye.
It is 33, and the worst part is it could end up getting a bit hotter. So that's my biggest thing.
Wow. Well, look, it's pretty. We have those days here in Australia, mate. We're a very, very interglobal show. We've got Australia, we've got India, and we've got Bournemouth. And Bournemouth are on about 8 degrees at the moment. Are you, Matt? 10 degrees or something?
Something like that. But since the start of the show, it is now clouded over. So there we go.
Anyway, great. Thank you, guys. Thanks for a great show.
See you all soon. See you next week.
Buddy. See you, guys. See you, Manny.
TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.